Have you ever wondered where something as ordinary as toilet paper actually comes from? Or what it really costs to the planet before it actually reaches our bathrooms? Or maybe you've stood in that supermarket aisles just like staring at all of these shelves and wanting to make a better choice, but unsure what actually matters, or whether that actual small product can really make a difference. You are not alone, and that is exactly what we're diving into on today's episode of Mama Earth Talk. Before we dig in, I've got something special to share with you. If you are ready to take that first step on this more sustainable journey, I have actually created an online course through all my experience, everything that I've learned, something that I wish existed when I started out. So I've created this online course to basically help you to live lighter with a practical guide to reduce your waste. Now, through 5 inspiring modules, it basically covers about 38 short videos, which is easy to follow along, and it's got loads of resources as well. So just head on over to our Instagram's link, Mama Earth Talk, and you can find the link in our bio that will connect you to our course. And please let me know what you think about the course if you've done it. I would love to know. If you're on the verge, not sure whether you want to do it, reach out, ask. I'll be happy to share more information as well. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hey, crazy birds, and welcome to another episode of Mama Earth Talk, where we dive into some real conversations about sustainability. We share honest stories and we explore practical ways to reduce our waste, go green, and live more conscientiously. I'm your host, Mariska Nall. So our guest today is the founder of Bambuyu, a sustainable tissue company that provides environmentally friendly, conscious alternatives to traditional tissue products. With a mission to slow down deforestation, Sahar has dedicated herself to creating innovative solutions and challenging the tissue industry, not through guilt or pressure, but actually through thoughtful everyday change. Crazy birds, without any further ado, I would like to welcome Sahar Karoubi. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mariska. So nice to talk to you.
It's really amazing to have you on the podcast. We've obviously met up a few times before, and it's really amazing to see, other female startups in this space as well. So it's great having you finally on the podcast. So excited to share with our crazy birds your journey.
Likewise.
So, Sahar, how did your sustainable journey actually start?
So it started with my own personal challenge. I'm a mom of 2. I obviously, as our household grew, felt like everything was going a little bit out of control sustainability-wise, and I wanted to start with the everyday products that we were using and find better alternatives. I looked at our detergents, our washing up liquid, the produce that we were getting, where we were sourcing them, and they were all natural steps that we took, and it was fairly easy to find them in the UAE. We have access to fairly good products, sustainable products, and tissues was where I got stuck. I didn't know what was wrong with standard tissues, but I knew we were using a lot of them, and I was curious to find out how they were made. And once I knew the impact of standard tissues, I couldn't find any viable sustainable alternatives. So after months of trying to find the right tissues, I decided I had to make them myself.
I love that. And that is kind of how Bambuyu, and am I saying the name correctly?
Bambuyu,
was
yes.
born. Bambuyu.
Yes.
So yeah, tell us about that. What exactly is Bambuyu?
So Bambuyu is a sustainable alternative to your everyday tissues. Think toilet paper, facial tissues, kitchen rolls, anything that is usually made from standard tree pulp. We make it from bamboo, which is a far more sustainable and a very high quality substitute.
That is kind of something that we use every single day. A lot of people obviously use toilet paper, we use tissues, we get the kitchen towels. But what really kind of made you stop to think about why are we cutting down all these trees and what kind of alternatives are there?
Yeah.
Like, how does using bamboo compare to using traditional trees?
So, the number that really got me was that every single day, 27,000 trees are cut down just to make toilet paper. And that doesn't account for all the other tissue products that we make, obviously. If you think about it in a percentage format, it's 15% of global deforestation. That really made me stop and think, what we can change and the way that we consume our tissues. Is it looking at reusables? Not really, right? It's a product that you need to dispose of after using a lot of the time. Two is what is a that customers are happy to switch to, because again with sustainability a lot of the time you think, okay, I'm giving up a product that I've used all my life, but I don't want to take a step back in terms of the experience that I've had. So bamboo gave us that really nice intersection of both of these elements coming together.
I love that. And kind of, when people think about obviously the toilet paper, like a lot of the times we are standing either in the supermarket or wherever you buy your products from with it, it's that click online. And sometimes you wonder, what kind of options are there? And we see, toilet paper made from recycled paper. We see, the bamboo. And then obviously, like you've just mentioned, the very, very scary stats of tree paper. So,
Yeah.
like, when we think about that bamboo itself, like, what is that process? Can you maybe take us through how do we get it from that bamboo, like the bamboo as we know bamboo? And every time I think bamboo, I think pandas.
Yes.
So, how do we go from that bamboo to your beautiful colored toilet roll that is in my house? What is that process behind? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So bamboo, one, to maybe explain it to the audience, it's a grass, not a tree, although it grows taller than most trees, or it is possible to grow. It works like grass. So if you cut the grass in your lawn, it grows right back. You can't get rid of it. It's a weed. It grows fairly fast. So it works the same way for us. When we harvest our bamboo, it grows right back within months, as opposed to trees that take decades to grow back. So that's where the sustainability element comes from. It's also a very resilient plant. In that it requires very little water. It can grow in any sort of soil. So it does the growing part on its own. So we take that. It grows also without the use of pesticides, as it's an antibacterial plant on its own. So we have a very clean raw material to play with. From there, the process of pulping it works similar to how tree pulp would work. So we pulp the bamboo and we create mother rolls out of it. So these are, massive rolls that can then be used either for toilet paper or facial tissues. And then they're cut and shaped into the formats that will end up in our customers' homes or on shelves. We also use plastic-free packaging. So that was one of the first steps that we wanted to take, that we want to take plastic and we want to take the guesswork out of our customers' decision. So the raw material is clean, it's sustainable, and you also don't end up with any product that you can't recycle or compost. So it really is I don't want to call it zero waste, but it's a very, very low waste
Yeah.
product in general. And you mentioned recycled paper. It's not a terrible alternative, honestly. It's just that the quality and the experience of recycled tissues are far poorer than bamboo. And again, for me, it was important not to create too many obstacles when we're already in a market where customers are just beginning to learn about the impacts of standard tissues and they're already taking a step to try a new product. We wanted to make it as exciting as possible. So the quality was very important, and bamboo, because it has very long fibers, allows us to have an end product that's soft, that's super absorbent, and the design factor also played a big role in how our brand came to life. So the packaging is quite exciting and colorful and fresh. So it gives the shoppers an added bonus of that design elevated experience.
And we obviously just went through the holiday season, so a lot of people kind of use that as beautiful gift wrapping as well, which is
Yes,
fantastic.
absolutely.
And it's just always so nice, like for me, when I, look at our house and is particular in the bathroom, and I see because we've got like a little extra spare roll holder for an extra tissue because I never want to run out. We'll have some of our guests be like, you just ran out.
Absolutely.
So I always have an extra one, and I always leave it with like the Bambuyu, cover on, because I feel like every time I see that, I feel happy because it's like I know that this is a better choice, kind of knowing that, there's so many alternatives out there, and it's a beautiful color as well. So the
No,
design is nice, but for me, it's also about that message.
and it becomes a conversation starter a lot of the time with, your guests and friends. It is different. It looks very different to any tissue out there. So even if you're not drawn immediately to, or you don't see the sustainability message, you are drawn to pick it up and look at the information. And our products. We talk a lot. We use every real estate on the product to tell our customers what our mission is and how the products are made. So I think it's done a lot of the word of mouth experience for us.
I feel one of the things is it is, a lot of the times we hear people say, oh, it is just one product. It is just, this small thing. How does this really matter, and why should it matter? Like, how do you answer that if people, tell you, oh, it's only a roll of toilet paper, or oh, it's only a box of tissues? Like, yeah, how do we kind of respond to that without, installing this like guilt or fear into people?
I think of everyday products as almost a tool for everyone to do their bit. If you think of it, billions of people are using, not just tissues, but all sorts of consumer goods around their house. And if you're able to make that one change in your own home, the power is in your hand, right? You're voting with your money. You are making choices. You are spreading that positive action to everyone who lives in your household or visits your household. And I think, on the contrary, it's not that we all have to do big things or change the world. It's the everyday decisions that we make that kind of steers the direction of, the trajectory of where we're going.
Like, just for curiosity, like, because I've got no idea of the stats, and you probably have that, like, know everything. But how much toilet paper would one person go through in a year? Like, how many rolls are we looking at?
Yeah, so we could look at around 150 rolls per household, depending on the household size. And
Wow.
we our customers also reduce the number of toilet rolls in particular that they buy throughout the year because the rolls are one very absorbent and they have a lot of sheets. But yeah, in usually you could be consuming around 150 rolls, which is it's quite a lot, and it really adds up in your lifetime. And obviously add to it all the other tissue products that you would be using across your home. We try to reduce the need for our customers to use tissues, which is counterintuitive for our business, obviously.
Yeah.
But the goal is to provide something that lasts long and, while you're using it, has a lower impact environmentally.
And I mean, when it comes to tissues and toilet paper, like, honestly, one roll is not the same as the other. So,
Right.
like the quality and things, that is really so, so important. And I just want to kind of touch back on one of the things that, we talked a little bit about the recycled paper, and like just to kind of also say, yes, it is better than, cutting down trees, but also there's so many things that's involved when we look at recycling. And then that is this beautiful white colored toilet paper that comes out. So can you maybe just explain to us on like the process of that? Because that obviously has a lot of chemicals. It has maybe a lot of, coloring to get that. So how do we kind of compare the bamboo, which you've talked us through the process, and then the recycled option? Because I feel sometimes people are stuck between those two.
Yeah. Yeah. So recycled products or tissues in general need a lot more processing. So prior to having the pulp ready to be used, you are using pre-used material. So you have to treat that and make sure that you end up with a clean raw material to then go ahead and create tissues with. So I think that process already includes quite a lot of chemicals and treatment to get that first step. Whereas with bamboo, we're starting with a natural raw material that's available for us, and it grows immediately, and you are using multiple sources of tissues, again, like you said, to make the color uniform. That's another process that the recycled tissues go through, and at the end of the day, you are not really getting the quality that you want. So you might be I don't know, they might have to add conditioning properties or softeners, and that's kind of three more steps than bamboo tissues have to go through. For me, it was frankly one of the first products that I tried after I realized that tissues have a high negative impact on our forests, and the entire household voted no to the experience. So
Oh gosh, that's so interesting. And yeah, because I feel that is one of the things where people are like, oh, when they try it and it's like an inferior product, then, they feel like, oh, okay, I did it. And they just go back to what they know. So having that bamboo option is really, really amazing. So thank you for creating it. And it's always great using it. But obviously building a sustainable business, that has turned out like far more messier. Like for me, trying to build my sustainable pet company, it's been interesting.
yeah.
What is something that you've learned, across this, and was it that you expected, or yeah, can you share a little bit about that startup journey as well?
Yeah, so I think in the earlier days when we were just starting to look at creating bamboo toilet paper, one was that local manufacturers were not open to using bamboo. We obviously we don't have the same volume as some of the bigger brands out there, and I was advised by tens of suppliers here that I shouldn't go for sustainable tissues because there's no market for it, and they won't be able to help me at the quantities that we were looking for. So that was one. And I think it's sometimes manufacturing locally is not an option that's available. And I think you should always allow yourself to go for that next step that allows you to introduce a product. Two is distribution. So we started as a direct to consumer brand, and it was fairly easy to acquire our first 100 customers. In fact, it was quite organic, and we grew through word of mouth. And we customers like yourself fell in love with our product and shared it with their friends and family, and it kind of grew from there. And it was only when we started to go to other channels, so both retail and e-commerce, that I realized, wow, this is a whole other ball game. We are not just trying to convince customers to switch to a new product, but we are going into channels where standard tissues basically monopolize the tissue aisle. And we're trying to make space for sustainable tissues. That is a first for the UAE. And we are creating awareness in parallel, both with customers and with clients and retailers. So I think that was something that I thought would be immediately get excitement from retailers, and it took us quite a while. It took us, I would say, years to establish a brand that proved that it's working with customers, and only then retailers said, okay, let's have a conversation. So it's I think a lot of the time, like myself, I on my initial projection plan, I had put, oh, I'm going to have these retailers signed in the first 6 months, and I'm going to have these e-commerce channels signed the next, and in reality, it was all postponed by months, if not years. So I think that
Wow.
That's definitely something to account for and be ready for. And that, e-commerce is such a beautiful space. It's where customers are already looking for sustainable products. They're looking for information. It's a lot easier to have videos and photos and explainers about your product and really capture customers where you can. And I would say if you are looking at a sustainable or niche product, that's where you start. You start direct to consumer, then e-commerce, and obviously in parallel, start speaking with retailers. There's more awareness today than when we started a few years ago. So
I love
hope.
that. And a huge congratulations because you are in one of the major retailers right now in the UAE. So well done
Yes,
on
we're
that.
in Scheutrams and all day stores. We're also launching an organic foods and cafe, which is really exciting. So yes, definitely this
Oh,
is the year of retail and making our products even more available for customers across the UAE.
and you were also on Shark Tank. Like I
Yes.
just like
Yeah. Yes.
popped out there. Do you want to share a little bit about that experience? Because obviously, being a sustainable product in the space of, something like Shark Tank, yeah, just share a little bit. How was that experience? And
Very
obviously, facing the
exciting.
sharks.
Very exciting. It was equal parts terrifying and cool. And, it's just really interesting because you're given 3 minutes to pitch your brand or your product. And there's really no space to make mistakes. You're going with your numbers, your products. It's very difficult to consolidate everything that you want to share about, what your passion is. And, I think what it did at that point was actually crystallize and focus the mission of Bambuyu. So leading up to Shark Tank, that was a very important exercise. I ended up getting 2 offers from the sharks that I didn't take. I did take away a lot of their advice, which was very on point, but the valuation was not right. It wasn't what I was looking for, and we ended up fundraising a few months after the episode came out at the valuation that we were looking at. So that was
Amazing.
definitely the right decision. But I would do Shark Tank all over again. Very, very cool experience. You get to have an audience or a forum that you usually want. You're in front of like very seasoned investors, and it's definitely an experience I recommend for any startup.
I'm going to try and link that clip in the show notes as well so our crazy birds can go and find it. I thought your pitch was amazing. And I was
Oh,
like,
thank
yes,
you.
I wouldn't have taken that as well. So that's amazing. How do you you look at your company and you're trying to strive for the sustainable product? And I mean, it is hard. Like, if anyone has ever created a sustainable company, they would know. Like, it is like even me coming with a master's degree in sustainable design and going almost like having a magic wand and telling clients, oh, just do this, this, and this. And then, they go to their manufacturer and they're like, yes, we can give you this certification, but it's just going to cost you an extra $5,000 because you're our only
Yes.
client that wants it. And then, going back and forth and trying to find that perfection, but then realizing perfection is not possible. So, at what point do you feel like, how do you go and get enough is enough for this? We go and we grow, especially as a founder. What were some of those issues for you?
Yeah, so I think knowing what you stand for and what the brand DNA is really powerful. So what are your no-goes and what are things that you're willing to be flexible on? For me, it was very important that we're using FSC certified bamboo, right? We want to make sure, even when we're looking at bamboo, that the farmers are paid fair wages, that they're not over harvested, that they are the quality that we're looking for. But like you said, getting ourselves FSC certified meant there was another, I don't know, a $10,000 fee. And I
Yeah.
thought, is that meaningful to my customer? Is an FSC certification important to them? Or is it important for me to source sustainably and source FSC certified. And that was like one of the decisions that we made early on, that, okay, we don't necessarily need the certification, but we are going to source correctly. In terms of quality, right? Yes, I can make the tissues even softer and add, natural conditioning to it. Do I need it at this point, or do I need a product that's most accessible price wise, right? And then we look at adding, I don't know, ingredients like natural aloe vera to make it softer. And obviously that would come at a premium. Then I can offer these products side by side once I have my customer base. How many products do I offer? What is my bandwidth as a founder? Like those were some of the initial decisions that we made. Like we had one single product for an entire year. I only sold
Wow.
toilet paper, and a lot of the retailers that we were speaking with thought that was crazy. So we went to Gibson's, was actually our first online retailer, and I knew I had to be there. I'm a big Gibson's shopper, and I knew we have a lot of customers within the Gibson's base, and it took me months to convince them to list a single product brand, because it doesn't really exist, right? Brands usually launch with a full portfolio, and I was a solo founder. I didn't have any staff, and that's what made sense for us, and so that was enough. Again, local manufacturing. Is it ideal? Yes, 100%. It's my dream to manufacture everything in the UAE. Is it available to me now? No, it's not. You kind of make decisions as they come.
And also kind of looking at volume, because, that is the thing which a lot of founders are faced with. If you only have 1,000 people that might buy your product, you can't manufacture 100,000. Like,
Okay.
it's things like that. So you need to really consider, these decisions wisely, and also make sure it is financially sustainable as well, because if that's going to ruin your financial situation, then most probably your company is not going to go forward. So it's obviously about the environmental sustainability, the financial sustainability, and what you've also mentioned with the people, looking at the people to make sure that the people that's in this chain is actually also being treated fair, and the working conditions and things. But how do you kind of stay honest and like transparent about your impact without feeling like the pressure, because there's a lot of like claims that people want to make, or people are saying that this is greenwashing, or why aren't you doing this? And
Yeah.
so yeah, how do you stay honest and transparent?
Um, we just stay honest and transparent. Honestly, we're very um one, our product says what it does on the back of it. So I wanted to make sure that customers can turn over our packaging and understand what the product is. We don't say anything more than what we do, right? And we make ourselves available to the end customer. So my phone number and my email address is in the first email that our customers get when they sign up to Bambuyu or when they shop from Bambuyu. Any questions that there ever is, I'm available. There's an FAQ on our website. Every time we've made changes, improvements, adjustments to the product, there's a communication that goes out to all of our customers, and also being humble enough to say, we're not there yet. Like you said, there's always questions of why don't we do it this way, and why isn't this available? We have customers who want packaging free Bambuyu toilet paper, and yes, we can do that. It just means that we're creating a whole new product line, and it is in the pipeline, but it has to be done when it makes sense for the business. So just being open, being available, being transparent, and not necessarily building in public. I don't know if that's I know a lot of Western brands do that, but being available publicly, both as the founder and as an organization, has been always what I believed in.
When you look at your company as well, I was amazed that for the longest period of time, you were doing this solo. Like, honestly, you were every single hat that that company had to wear, you wore that. And,
Yes.
when you looked at it, it was like, wow, this is actually fully organized company. And, you've got a great marketing strategy and you're doing this. And what kept you motivated during those times and wearing all those hats? And like, what advice can you give people that is doing that?
One, if you don't believe in what you're building, it's going to be so hard. It's already hard, you know it, Mariska. It's an uphill battle, and there's more rejection and more failure than there isn't. So you just have to really believe in it and really love it. And so that's my first advice. Do something that you genuinely have passion for. And I think that's the first thing that kept me going. Two, from almost day one, from very early on, I had my P&L and my financials in place. So I knew where I was every month, and I knew how far I was from my target and where I need to be. And I'm very target oriented. I know that if I know I want to get somewhere, I'm going to work towards it. But if you don't know how far you are from it, obviously it doesn't make any sense. So again, one of the first things I invested in as soon as the business was making money was an accountant, or an accounting agency rather, and that helped me have better visibility on where we are and where we should be. And having the right structure around you, be it, advisors, investors, it might be, I don't know, acquaintances within the same category that you operate in. And the startup space, especially the FMCG startup space, is not huge in the UAE. So you end up finding the niche and the groups that you wanna look for pretty much immediately. And I've made like incredible friends along the way that we exchange ideas and struggles. And, the struggles that I face with Bambuyu are very different to, my days in corporate. And I don't have any frame of reference of myself. So I, I tend to share them with, people who are operating similar businesses and get some more reassurance in that sense. So I think your village is very important, and I think we can make that fairly quickly, even before you've launched.
That is so, so important. And I mean, you have really created such an amazing company, which I love to support. And I hear there might be some exciting things coming. So, what is next for Bambuyu?
So I've always listened to our customers, right? So every year we do a massive survey for shoppers and non-shoppers, and we look at not necessarily what they're looking for, but we read between the lines and we try to understand what's missing in their basket and their everyday experiences. It's not necessarily always, oh, choose between this product or that. It's like, how does your day look like? Where are the challenge points or most challenging times of your day? And if you remember, we launched our car tissues, the tube tissues, about a year and a half ago. And that came from one of the insights that our customers gave us, that being in traffic and doing school runs or being on the way to work and being stuck is where one of the biggest challenges. We're in Dubai. We all
Yeah.
we all deal with
Live
the
in the
traffic.
cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we're like, okay, we use tissues in the car. Tissue boxes are usually underfoot. You can't find it when you need it. You need to pass it to the back to the passengers, and it's just not handy. And we launched the tube tissues, which our very creative customers found many, many more uses for. So it's used for, offices and homes and cars and strollers and so on. So it's our on-the-go product. Following the success of our first on-the-go product, we are launching our pocket tissues. So I hope oh yeah, there you go. So
Oh,
for you,
wow.
you're the first to see it on camera, actually. So this is a pocket tissue format that
Oh,
has
nice.
our tissue sheets inside. It's made from bio-based plastic. It's actually so biodegradable that we have to be conscious of how long it's on shelf and the temperatures it's kept in, because it can biodegrade so quickly. So that's going to launch in February this year, which is quite exciting. And we are also looking at adjacent categories. So while the tissue category will remain key for us, we're looking at products that can be used alongside skincare and beauty routines that can operate as a support to other moments in our customers' everyday life. And I think with the beauty industry being so um, chemical field in
Mm.
other words, there is space for items that are gentler on your skin, that are more natural and taking you back to, simplifying your beauty routine to a large extent. So
I love that.
that is a product that we'll be looking at in Q2 next year.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. I'm so excited and I can't wait for our Crazy Birds to actually see the real deal once it's launched. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Sahar, what has been one of your most important decisions that you have made around Mama Earth?
I think launching Bambuyu, just not relying on someone else to make a decision for me, thinking there is an opportunity to introduce something incredible to the rest of the world that impacts our environment, and I'm going into it.
And that is such a worthwhile course. And yeah, just seeing the impact that you've made, and always love to see your products whenever I spot them in the wild. So,
Me too.
yeah. How does it feel? Is it like, oh my gosh, I made that? And it's like
Yeah,
here
it,
and
it never gets old. I thought by now I would feel like, oh yeah, we should be everywhere. But
yeah.
I still like the best is when I'm driving on the road and I see a car with our tissue box on the dashboard, because that's just what are the
Oh.
chances? Yeah, but we get a lot of pictures from our customers as well when they're in their friends' homes. Like, oh look, it's not just me, it's all my friends. It's fantastic.
And yes, we are now going to move into our final five. So it's the same five questions I ask every single guest, and you can just give me short answers. You ready?
Yes.
First one is, what is one social media account or publication that you follow?
Ooh, so I follow many, but there's one, I hope I say her name right. It's Venetia Lamana. So she does these amazing bits where she cooks while exposing Big Corp, and it's just so entertaining. It's a really easy
Oh,
way to consume sustainability information while being entertained and learning. It's just fantastic. She's super cool.
oh wow, we'll definitely check that out. And
Yeah.
what is your hope for Mama Earth going forward?
Um, that sustainable decisions become mainstream and not a niche.
And what advice can you give our crazy vets this week to help out Mama Earth?
Just do it. Just do one simple thing you can do. Make a swap. It's easy. It's as easy as that. It's never too small.
And what is one sustainability fact that you like to use in a room with people not yet on a sustainable journey?
Tissue consumption makes up 15% of global deforestation.
It's a hard one, so we
Yeah.
need to make a better shift. So, yeah, thank you for creating that better shift. And last one is, where can people actually find you and Bambuyu?
Yes, so on bambuyu.com, but also on Amazon, Noon Minutes, Talabat, Karim Deliveroo, and in stores at Schweitrams, All Day, and soon Organic Foods and Cafe.
Awesome. And for our listeners that is not in the UAE, is there hopefully some plans at some point to go and be global?
So we are expanding to Saudi in
Oh.
2026, which is very exciting for us. And although we don't distribute globally, if you email us or if you reach out to us on bambuyu.com, we can always do our best to get our tissues to you.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast
Thank
and
you
for
so much, Mariska.
all the work that you do. You're really such an inspiration, and like give a huge shout out to you as well, because every time when I've been stuck on this like startup journey, you've been there cheering me on and just like being so amazing. So thank you for that as well.
Anytime. Thank you so much. Thank you for creating this platform. I really enjoyed our chat.
So, this conversation really wasn't all about toilet paper. It is about the systems behind our everyday products, what sustainability looks like, when perfection isn't possible, and how small, intentional choices can still matter. That is it for today's episode of Mama Earth Talk. I hope Sahar's journey and her work has really inspired you to look at some of the everyday choices in your life with a little bit more curiosity, a little less pressure. If you care about the planet but want sustainability to feel more realistic, more human, and more doable, this episode was totally for you. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please do consider leaving us a review on Podchaser or share it with a fellow crazy bird. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a beat from Mama Earth Talk. And I would love to hear your thoughts. What stood out for today? Are you using a more environmentally friendly, sustainable toilet paper, or are you using bidet? What are you using? Let me know. I would love to know. Or if you just want to come on over and say hi, you can find me on Instagram at Mama Earth Talk. And remember, Mama Earth has a voice, and it's us crazy birds. See you in the next one.